We know that no one knows that. So the claim made by the religious that they know God, they know his mind, and they can tell us what to do in his name is, I think, exploded. Further, it is not argued by my side, at any rate, or by no one I know on it, that our presence here on the planet is something that is susceptible of a smooth, logical, reasonable explanation. To the contrary, we are still very much in doubt as to precisely how we came to be human and to separate ourselves from some of our common ancestors. And, we also know that of the species that have been on this small planet, in this tiny solar system, since the beginning of measurable time, of the number that were ever in existence, more than 98.9% have become extinct. A certain solipsism, I think, is required to believe that we, as a resulting species, are somehow the center of the created cosmos. This is not modesty, as the Christians call it. It's not humility. It's an unbelievably arrogant claim to make. But at least it makes up for the other claim we're supposed to put up with, which is, well, yes, but we're also miserable sinners conceived in filth and doomed to abject ourselves. Both of these positions are too extreme, too strenuous, too fanatical. Both of them reinforce each other in unpleasant ways, and both should be outgrown by us. Voila.
Well, I think you probably had a bad Sunday school teacher, because a lot of what you're saying is based on dogma and has nothing to do with one's belief in a supreme being. You're discussing, again, religions, dogmas, denominations, not the existence or non-existence of God. I'm glad to hear you concede you can't prove he or she doesn't exist any more than you claim that those that believe. Are you going to claim that that's God speaking on my behalf? Or the devil, which you choose. But I think that, again, the basic core question of God goes way beyond any example, no matter how witty or humorous, of those that come in God's name, because it is the dictates of denominations or organized religious groups that tell you what to eat and what to wear and who to sleep with and all of that. That has nothing to do with the existence of an order to the universe that is clear and evident, that science, I think, confirms that it evolved from somewhere. That's how I relate to God. To your point, however, since I wasn't assertive enough in the first going forward, and I think one guy said that the other night in Vegas, and Mayweather got more assertive, he won the fight, so watch out on that. But I'll get a little more assertive. Dr. King's organization, Brother Hitchens' name, was the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. So there's no question that he himself saw that the basis of the movement was God-based. Did he have some socialists that did not believe in God that associated with the movement? Absolutely. But they joined SCLC's endeavors after SCLC was formed. In fact, SCLC was formed in 1957 in New Orleans, before many of them that organized the March on Washington. When Bayard Rustin, who I knew, went down south, his problem was he debated a lot with the ministers there, who was the core of that group. So to try and secularize the civil rights movement is just totally inaccurate. It was a church-based, faith-based movement. There's no question about that. And Dr. King, way before he studied Hegel and the rest, he grew up in Ebenezer Baptist Church, was an ordained minister, first went to Morehouse, then Crozer Theological Seminary, then went to Boston to study those that you have referred to. So let's not reinvent Dr. King any more than we try to reduce God to some denominational convention. And as for the one Mormon running for office, those that really believe in God will defeat him anyway, so don't worry about that. That's a temporary situation. But I think the core challenge that I would have is that I would say to you that if your argument is that there are those that have used religion, as in slavery or as even today, to oppress people and use religion to be unfair to people or have misinterpreted scriptures. You would get no debate from me. I think that is a fact of history and one that many of us have had to fight against. That still does not disqualify God any more than using anything in nature that is wrong. To say that one eats food that is poisoned does not mean one should therefore starve, because food is inherently bad. That, I think you're confusing the misuse of religion with the existence of God. There are those that have no religious affiliations at all that believe in God. There are people that don't deal with organized church at all that still believe in God. So when you say God is not great, let's not then debate organized religion is not great, or some that have exploited organized religion is not great. You, in the title of your book, and I've had a chance to go through your book, attack God, not those that express that they are therefore standing in God's place or representing God. And in your whole oratory about weapons of mass destruction, and he thought he had it and all of that, when we found him, he was in a rat trap with a .22 pistol. He knew he didn't have any weapons of mass destruction, because no one, as one that comes out of the hood, no one that has atom bombs would just retreat with a .22 and wait on the cavalry.
Any order you like.
I think I better stick to the reverse order. No, well, that's why a very good time to attack him was before he would get back what he'd lost by way of WMD. He didn't have any then, and he wasn't going to get them back either, any more than he was going to improve his relations with Al-Qaeda. They were as good as they were ever going to get, and that was fine by me. Maybe an argument for another time, but believe me, I'm not reluctant to have it. Then we're of one mind, essentially. I mean, after all, I did not deny what's common knowledge, that Dr. Martin Luther King was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and was indeed at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Thomas. No, I said I cannot say to you that I know that he was a believing Christian. No, I cannot. I mean, neither can you say that to me, any more than we seem to be of one mind on this too. Neither of us can prove or disprove the existence of God. The difference is between us. I don't say that I'm an ordained minister, because I don't think I could push it that far. Since you're evidently an agnostic, which is a confession that I'm very welcome to have not extracted from you, but heard you make. Now, here's the question. You say these texts are misused. I say that they are not. The Old Testament says, or does not say, that Abraham was doing a noble thing by offering to sacrifice a son to prove himself loyal to God or to the voices he was hearing in his head. It says there was a noble thing for him to do. He was rewarded for it by a great posterity and a great long life, offering to murder his son because of hearing voices in his head. This is not moral teaching to me. Is it not the case that the Old Testament says that the Amalekites must all be destroyed down to the last child, every one among them, leave not one? Yes, it does say that. The Bishop of Llandaff, in an argument with Thomas Paine, once said, well, when it says keep the women, as Paine had pointed out, he said, I'm sure God didn't mean just to keep them for immoral purposes. Well, what does the Bishop of Llandaff know about that? It says, kill all the men, kill all the children, and keep the virgins. I think I know what they had in mind. I don't think it's moral teaching. To this day, there are nutbag settlers, some Israeli citizens, some of them Americans, some of them Israeli Americans, trying to settle the West Bank in the name of this prophecy and throw other people off their land and establish a theocracy that will bring on the Messiah and, they hope, Armageddon and the end of the world. Well, I think the United States Supreme Court should hear argument that not one American dime can be used constitutionally for that project. Okay? It's high time. Cut it off. These people mean us real